Hello friends, welcome back again. So today we are going to see about that most interesting and useful topic as a SAP consultant roles, responsibilities and opportunities. I hope this video will definitely be useful to every SAP consultant and already working as a SAP consultant and want to become an SAP consultant. And before going into this video, if you still didn't subscribe my channel, please subscribe. And this will be motivation for me to deliver more videos. Okay, let's go into the video and check the topics. I will explain each and every term in a detailed way. So these topics are covered in 3 slides, and each and every term I will explain everything. Okay, let's go into the video and see. So first slide is about SAP consultant roles. So here everyone we think about that roles when we start as a SAP consultant or already become a SAP consultant and move into different project or different company. So here the roles mainly depends upon the project requirements and also based upon the experience. So if it is a project, so if a fresher starting as a SAP consultant, so if he is alerted with the SAP model, some model consultant, EWM or MM or any model, so in that case, so he will, if as a fresher, he or she will work under the senior guy, and so he can learn the things, and after that, so the company may be expected to handle it independently. If it is a lateral about 3 years, most of the multinational companies are expecting the people to work and handle the work, manage the work independently without any frequent supervision. So that is the requirement. So here the roles based upon project requirement. Suppose the fresher may trained on different model, for example SAP MM. While at the work and based upon the project, he or she may need to work on the SAP WM. So that is based upon the requirements. Sometimes he may be aligned with the training model and also the project skill, that is based upon the requirements and luck also. And another thing is experience. So if it is an experienced person, most probably he or she used to work on the same module. So if he is alerted with the different model, that is the extra responsibilities that need to take care based upon that bandwidth. So here the second point is roles may either be in implementation or support project in high level classification. So that means we may be alerted with the implementation or support project. So implementation here further classified into greenfield implementation or brownfield implementation or rollout implementation. So if we are saying implementation project, so what is greenfield implementations? So here greenfield implementation means suppose the company is new to SAP, completely new to SAP, and they want to they don't have any legacy systems, or only handling all the business processes in only paperwork manually, and they want to enter into they want to handle all the business process, manage the business process through SAP S4 HANA. So they want to implement SAP S4 HANA newly into the company. So in that case it is called as a greenfield implementation generally. And also if there is any existing solution already they have in SAP, and they want to completely re-engineering the solution, that means modify the solution, introducing new business process, organization data. So in that case also it will be called as a greenfield implementation, complete re-engineering. And second thing is a brownfield implementation. So brownfield implementation, what is brownfield implementation? So here brownfield implementation is already we have the company is having the SAP, and SAP ECC they want to migrate into SAP S4 HANA. It is called as generally upgrade. So they want to use the same business process and all organization data already existing, and only the system upgradation from SAP ECC to they want to enter into SAP S4 HANA. So in that case it is called as a brownfield implementation. So next is rollout implementation. So rollout implementation is a general term, so we may use it to hear very frequently everywhere. Uh, so that rollout implementation is also we need to handle as like a full scale implementation, but the difference is already the group of consultants discussed with the users, business users, and created the rollout templates, all the organization data, which is a organization data like a company code, chart of accounts, and very high level organization data will be discussed, and also scoping what are all the common process followed through the company, that will be discussed, and these templates will be documented, and these templates will be further distributed to that specific rollouts. So these templates will be followed through the rollout. Suppose if the company has a 50 plants around around the different countries. The company is headquartered in USA, and the company has plants in China, India, France, Germany. So and the company want to roll out all the roll out the S4 HANA implementations throughout all plants by following the common SAP template. So in that case, it is called as a rollout implementation. If the company is implementing, so already the template is documented. The common template is documented with all organization data and what are all the scope in process. Everything is documented, and this same thing will be followed for the other plants. So the all the plants inside the company will follow the same process, and the standard rollout template will be followed for other plants too. So this is called rollout implementations. So the final point for the roles slide is support project, further classified into only developments with all reserved Ws and functional configuration or user support for existing processes. So support project. So first, in the previous point, we discussed about implementation project, and now we are going to talk about the support project and what is our roles. Support project here mainly classified into developments or user support for existing projects process. So only developments in the sense support project starts with the, so most of the times the system is already live, and the business users want some improvement in process, and or they want some development in process, like they want new forms, or they want a new report, and they want a new report to show the KPIs, key performance indicators, or they want workflow like emails. They want to have a visibility in the processes. So they want some mail to be triggered in the inbox, or any interfaces from legacy systems to SAP, or any data conversions. So this like developments, there will be a usual requirement. And what is the thing is, so here I have mentioned the term reserved Ws, WRICFS. So that is a workflow, report, interface, conversion, enhancements, forms. So what is so the development is mostly into these categories. So what is workflow? Workflow, so like I said before, workflow is usually helps the user to have a big visibility and alert. It is like a alert system. So they want some email. Suppose if they some if somebody procurement, so procurement people is creating the purchase order, and the manager has to approve. So that is a release strategy condition. But when the procurement person is creating the purchase order, the manager may not know immediately, and he has to log in into the system and check whether any purchase order is pending for approval. So in that case, there will be a delay in approval process. So whenever he is logging into SAP and check, that time only he knows there is some purchase order that is pending for approval. So manager may not know, and this process will get delay. So to avoid this, manager wants this alert system. Suppose if procurement people is creating the purchase order, and this will be intimated to the manager immediately through the email, Outlook email in the inbox. That is possible with the workflow. So through workflow, the email can be triggered into the manager's inbox. So manager usually checks the email every time, even when he is in home or office. So in that case, he can immediately approve the purchase order, and the process will be make this business process faster. So that is the purpose of workflow. Next development object is a report. R for report. So report usually stands, so suppose the business users want to have the better KPIs visibility, and they want to do some calculations through that report. That is also possible, and they want to list out all the purchase orders and who is approver. The custom report is possible apart from the standard report. So we ABAP, with the help of the ABAP, we can develop the report. And the interface means, suppose the business is using a legacy system which is not SAP, and they want to integrate it into the SAP. That is possible through interface. Some business process will be handled in a legacy system, and this, for example, in some system, in EPR system, purchase requisition will be handled in EPR system, and this PR to be migrated into that SAP automatically, integrated into SAP automatically, and further procurement process like creation of purchase order, approval of purchase order need to handle in SAP. In that case, that is called as interface. These two systems will be connected. So that's an example of interface. And conversions means conversion. So if you want, data migration is also called a conversion, and I want to migrate a huge amount of data, converting the data into the format, and migrating into that, loading into that is a SAP system. So that is also called a conversion. And the enhancements, we have a baddies, and this user exits. With the help of the user exits, I can process, make some fields mandatorily, or make some user status automatically changing, or with the help of baddies, whatever the functionalities improvements if we are performing, that is called as enhancements. And the next one is forms. So forms, usually purchase order forms, work order forms, production order forms, issue slip, material issue slips. So based upon the business, the company logo, everything, if we want to incorporate based upon the business requirements, that development is called forms. So sometimes users may come up with the users may come up with the requirements which is already mapped in a functional configuration, and it is possible through functional configuration. Then SAP consultant can perform this particular functional configuration, and implemented this development. Or so mostly this development begins with the creation of change request. So change request will so used to track all the developments in a standardized way. So this change request documented all the development requirements. So these requirements will be collected from the business users, and this will be documented in this change request. So we have several tools like service now. These tools can handle those support tickets, and used to standardize this process, change request process. So once a change request is created, and consultant can collect the users, discuss with the business users, and collect the requirements, and prepare the functional specifications. And functional specification documented all the things, including the whatever the things we need to perform, and change we need to do. And also ABAP person will prepare this technical specification document. So those kind, so we here, as per the development project, we need to closely coordinate with the ABAP person and do all the testings. And user support for existing process. That means already the process is SAP system is the business user is using the SAP system, and they want they are struggling in some existing process, or they want a new process, or anywhere the if the user is struggling, and the user may need the help. In that case, user support consultant can help the business users to overcome these issues. So then these are all the main roles SAP consultant will handle, and we will see the next slides. SAP consultant responsibilities. So here also we further classified this into implementation project responsibilities and support project responsibilities. So in implementation project, what are all the phases we have? So generally these phases are followed. So we have in SAP S4HANA, we have two methodologies. So here I classified this into generic phases. In generally in SAP, we have ASAP methodology also, we have a activate methodology also. So here I classified this into generic phases: scoping, design, and configurations, unit testing, integration testing, data migrations, business user trainings, user acceptance testing, cutover activities, go live and post go live support. So here begins with the scoping. Scoping involves pre-scoping as well as scoping. So in that basis, what we will do is as a consultant. So we need to understand the high level process, what the plant is currently using. That is a existing process need to understand, and what are all the high level requirements they have in that business process, that needs to understand in the scoping phase. And the design phase is generally the consultants is conducting the workshops and discussed with the business users and various other business people who were required. And this in the workshop, the um, processes will be covered and discussed in a detailed way. What are all the business process requirements, and the output of the workshop is we need to prepare the document, which is a existing process as is, and to be, that is the general we need to follow. And also we need to highlight the standard SAP process and try to map the business requirements with this standard SAP process. So if 80 percentage of the process is mapping and the remaining 20 percentage is not mapped, and we need to perform the gap analysis, how we are going to map the 20 percentage of business process which is not covering in standard SAP. So that is the gap analysis that can be covered with the developments. Through developments it can be covered. So that everything will be covered in the business process document. We need to prepare this document, and this functional specification document, and what are all the configurations we need to perform for covering the business process in a standard way, that everything will be documented. And the third one is configurations, that is in realization phase usually. So configuration means whatever that we documented in the functional specification, those configurations will be executed in the real SAP system. So in where we executed this configuration in SAP system. So in SAP landscape, generally it is divided into golden client. Golden client is where we perform all the configurations, and the next is testing client. So in testing client, so after we perform the configurations, we will move this configuration into the testing client. So move how you move this configuration, it is captured through this request transport request. That transport request will be moved into the copied into the testing client. So then your configurations will be in testing client, where you can perform all the testing of the business process. That testing means you are checking the business process is working, whatever the configurations you have done. So once you've done the testing, so that is called as a testing client. Testing client may have, you may have two three clients, two clients you have, two systems you may have in the testing client itself. So that is also possible. That's based upon the SAP landscape of the company. And the next one is your cutover system, that is a pre-production system, and the next one is a production system. Pre-production system is where we only migrate the data, and it will look like a production system, but we will not do any testing in that pre-production system. And the final one is production system, that is a live system where the users will perform all the real transactional processes and the business processes in the company. That is called as a production systems. That once we move all this request into the production system, that is considered as a go live. Okay, so that is a general process. Configurations we will be performed in the golden client. That is the golden client. We will perform all the configurations, and we will do unit testing in the testing system. Unit testing means we will perform all the testing only oriented to that standard configurations what you have done. So unit testing does not cover the role authorization by testing activities. So integration testing covers the role authorization activities. So in integration testing only, we need to check, we need to assign the actual roles created by security people. So that roles will be assigned to the test users, and we will test the same in the integration testing phase. So unit testing and integration testing difference is based upon the role authorization testing. In unit testing we will not cover the role authorization one, and integration we will cover, and also test along with the all modules, whatever the integration scenarios, everything will be covered in integration testing. And the most important thing is data migrations. So data migrations means when a project needs to be successful, this is the most important activity we need to focus mainly. And data migration phase will be started in the initial business this design phase itself, and we need to start distributing the templates in the scoping phase, and also explain the templates. So what are all the templates we have in the master data? If companies need to migrate from SAP ECC to S4HANA, that we need to download all the data from the SAP ECC and loading into that S4HANA. Or if it is a completely new S4HANA implementation, that is a greenfield implementation, then all the manual data, paper-based data to be filled in the templates by the users, business users, and this will be loaded into the S4 HANA systems. So how the users means can fill the templates. So the SAP consultant need to explain the templates in a proper way, field by field, what to fill and how to fill. So this format should not be disturbed, and also everything should be explained clearly, communicated to the users and coordinated with the users regularly, and collect all the master data. There should not be any mistake in that. Then only that my data migration activity will be in a smooth manner. So then this data migration activity will be started from testing client, and this pre-production client and production client. Parallelly, these activities need to be conducted along with this configuration, unit testing, integrations. So this is a parallel activity that needs to be conducted by pace, like a Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, and Mark 4s. So why we are conducting Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4? Mark 1, because we need to know how the users may fill the templates. If they are filling initially, we may not know how the business users enriched with the SAP knowledge. So if they are completely new, they may make mistakes and fill the template wrongly, even we explained it clearly, or some communication mistakes or anything may happen. So through Mark 1 we will learn and experience what is the data mistakes and the data to be corrected in Mark 2. So if the data is corrected in Mark 2, and we will collect in Mark 2, we need to collect 50% of data at least, and in Mark 3 we need to collect at least 90% of data. and Mark 4, that is the final data, 100%, that is the production data. So this data collection and data templates, nothing should be changed from Mark 2 to Mark 4. If it is changing frequently, the data formats or data templates or anything, then again it is considered, means some mistakes, there is a probability of mistake will increase. And next one is business user trainings. So in that after relay configurations and integration testings, the user trainings need to be conducted. The all the business process and the system demo need to be delivered to that client, that is key users or end users, whoever. And these trainings, we need to prepare that training documents. Through the training document we can deliver the trainings, or direct system demo can be done. And this training document should be step by step end user manual, so they can easily execute the business process without any problem. And the next one is user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing, once the training is done, and then user acceptance testing. What is user acceptance testing? Unit testing, integration testing. Unit testing and integration testing need to be executed by the SAP consultants. But user acceptance testing means user will execute this business process and test this business process, how it is working, and understand the whole business process. So if there is any issue in executing by the user, then SAP consultants need to help the user in completing the process. Help the user means rectify the issues and ask the user to continue the process executions. So that responsibility is lying with the business users only. So user acceptance testing, why they are performing user acceptance testing? Suppose the user is completely new to SAP, and the user may given some requirements to the consultants initially. This is the requirement, I want this like a process. And suppose if the user is executing the process directly in a production system, and he may or she may come up with the surprises. This is not they may tell this is not what I expected. So to avoid this, user acceptance testing is necessary, and we have a pace. So users will involve this testing pace and completely enrich the knowledge, and there will be no surprises hereafter the go live. That's why user acceptance is necessary and needs to be done carefully by the users with the coordination with the help of SAP consultants. So the next one is cutover activities. Cutover activities is before go live, we need to perform in the production systems, like whatever not whatever we unable to move through transport request, that is a independent activities that needs to be performed in every client, that cannot be transported through transport request. So those activities will be covered in the cutover base. Any table activities or any master data activities, like production work center creation or any work center creation, or any other master data creation activity which is not worth or possible to do through transport requests, that will be handled in cutover activities. And the next one is go live and post go live support. So go live is generally the when we during one day. So the business and the consultant SAP consultants will decide, the steering committee will decide the go live date, and on this date this first transaction will be executed by the business users on the production system. After the transport, once the transport, all the transport requests are moved into that production system, this first transaction will be executed by the business users, and real business process will be executed. So that is called go live. And post go live support, if there is any active support required, or if there is any issue faced by the users, like authorization issues or any other issues, the consultant needs to rectify these issues during the post go live support. Generally post go live support um, will be for 1 or 2 months, that it will be general durations. And here the change management is a very important because the company needs to adapt to the new business process without any problem thereafter go live. Because if a user is not adaptable or given proper training or no change management happened, so user may continue with the same previous process, legacy process like paperwork, or continue with the previous system. In that case, it will be a big problem for the company, and also the implementations may not be successful. So in that case, change management is very important with the proper user training. So the user will continue with that new system without any problems. So thereafter, support projects. So here, as we already discussed, developments. Support projects involves developments or functional configuration. So here involves requirement collection, functional specification, document preparation, and coordinate with the above people is very important. So that close cooperation with the above people, and testing is also very important. Testing involves here regression testing is most important one, because we are involving in developments. Development means we are the business users want some requirements which the process is already running, and if we are doing some configuration or developments which may impact another functionality also, so that impact analysis need to be done and the regression testing need to be done carefully. So the other functionalities or process should not be disturbed by activating this functional configuration, or because of development there should not be any disturbance to the existing process. That needs to be taken care carefully. And once the testing is done, that change request can be moved into production system, that is released into production system through batches. So generally these support developments will be handled in batches, and a particular every month or 2 months. So these batches of release change request will be moved into production, and business can execute the new development process. And the next slide is about opportunities for SAP consultant. So we have numerous opportunities for SAP consultant. So if you are looking for onshore role, so that is also possible, which can be short term or long term. So that is depends upon the specific model skill, how you have developed the model skill and expose this to your managers as well as on-site managers. Offshore managers and on-site managers need to be coordinated and aligned with your model skill. So in that case, you will get better opportunity, or you have a unique skill, or like a client specific skill. Suppose the client is following the different process apart from the standard SAP process. And at SAP, everything is a custom based process and a custom based transaction. In that process, you have a good skill, and you have a problem solving rectification, and a good reputations from the client or on-site managers. In that case also you will have a good opportunity to go for a onshore role. So then that also depends upon the project requirements. Even though you have a skill, and if there is a no project requirement or on-site presence required, then then there will be no onshore role. You need to work in the only offshore role. That's mainly depends on project requirements. So here onshore role mostly for implementation kind of projects, that is possible. So during the business requirement phase, most of the clients want on-site presence. So they may they expect the consultants to be in the on-site and discuss with the users face to face. That is it is a useful loan, and it will reduce the communication gap, and also expedite the workshops requirements process everything easily. And apart from that, so that most of the times, if it is a rollout implementations or any brownfield implementation, that kind of a short term opportunity. Support role may sometimes require on-site present in long term. Suppose if you have a visa already, like a H1B visa or any other visa, like EU Blue Card or Canadian permanent residency visa. then it is very possible you can go through that company itself if it is a multinational company. So the opportunities are bright. And offshore role, now most of the projects working in offshore model and work from the same base location without any travel. That's good for people who don't like travel and want to stay in the hometown or same place. So SAP considered as numerous opportunities. There is a more room to grow. So this is the end of our topics. If you feel this video useful, please subscribe, share, and like. Till I come back with the new video. Bye, friends. Thank you.